Hey guys, Ranger here, and welcome back to another video, and welcome back to my reaction and review to the newest Mickey short. Now, my best friend sent me the link to this and told me that there was a new Mickey cartoon out. Before that, I did see that, I think it was in the recommendations over on the side, that there was a new Mickey short out. And after my friend sent me the link, somebody else, I actually had a couple other people tell me, watch this cartoon. So let's go ahead and jump in to the new Mickey cartoon, Outback Out. Yeah, and I already know, since this is called Outback, Mickey is in Australia. So, let us begin. Starting video on 3, 2, 1, click. Ooh, I love the music. Ooh, I love this sound. Oh. Really? That's cool. Oh, I love that music.
Minnie, look!
How many's in this?
Bet you can't guess what I brought. Can you, Minnie? Can you? It's my very own boomerang!
That's great, hon.
I'll say.
Oh my gosh, they have Australian accents.
That there ring isn't for mucking with.
Whoa.
Remember, a boomerang.
I was getting ready to say, Kanga, what did you do to yourself?
In your hands. Best put that down before something terrible happens.
I wasn't mucking. I was just
Terrible!
Rue? Whoa.
yeah!
Dang. Rue, that was your father.
Gee,
Rue, that was your father.
thing I didn't understand a word he said. Otherwise, I might think twice about throwing this wicked, awesome boomerang.
And I love Minnie calling Mickey hun. I love it. It's so cute. You're gonna hit a kid. Who cares? That wasn't too bad. That's kind of bad. That's also kind of bad. Hey, it's those guys. Ow!
Let's get him!
It wasn't me. It was the boomerang.
I gotta go back and look at those cars. Oh great, this is Mad Max. Or Mad Mick. Yep, this is... Well then.
This is all your
Oh, Dad.
fault. Well, maybe not all your fault.
Huh?
25% my fault? 50%? Alright, fine! It was all my fault!
I wonder if he's dreaming.
I listened to that kangaroo and he said,
A boomerang's journey begins and ends in your hands.
my hands. This journey ends here.
I gotta say, I love Mickey's Australian accent. No explosion from the cars? Hey, it's the Sydney Opera House! I believe, wasn't it? I'm not sure. It wasn't enough detail for me to make that out completely. But it looked like the Sydney Opera House. Yeah, because just sticking it back on works.
We did it!
That's great, hon.
I love Minnie calling Mickey hun. That's so sweet. I love that. Okay, was that like a Mad Max or a Mad Mick reference? Alright, you know what? I gotta say, I'm a Disney fan, and I'm envious, I'm very jealous of the Brony community because of the abundance of art that people do after a new episode. In the Disney fandom, there's zilch, nada whenever it comes to the new shorts. So, yeah, at this point, I honestly would not want to see, that would hurt to see art of Mickey and Minnie in like the Mad Max style, and Minnie being the girl that got run over by the bad guys, and Mickey being the guy that goes on a heck bent revenge trip. Yeah, I wouldn't want to see that. That would hurt me. But again, I love Minnie calling Mickey Hun in an Australian accent. That's so sweet. I love it. But this is a very interesting gimmick in that Mickey has a boomerang. And he wants to throw a boomerang. Now, we've seen these gimmicks before in a few of the other Mickey and Donald shorts where they were in Australia. There was an older Mickey cartoon from, I think, the 1940s where Mickey was in the Outback as well. I remember Mickey throwing a boomerang in that. Not sure if this is a reference to that or not, like a kind of a callback to that. But I do remember that short. I don't remember the name of it, but I remember bits and pieces of it. And I keep thinking there was a Donald cartoon where Donald was in the Outback as well. But yeah, it's kind of a thing, Outback, boomerang, kind of a funny thing that they kind of go together. It's just a kind of a shtick that goes with that. And Mickey meets this kangaroo, who I still say this is Roo's dad, who tells him that the boomerang's journey begins and ends in his hands, and it could bring pretty much ultimate destruction if Mickey doesn't watch out what's going on. But Mickey can't resist the temptation and decides, oh, what the heck, let's throw this sucker and see what happens. Honestly, I've never thrown a boomerang in my life, but I would say, yeah, this is pretty much what would happen in real life if I threw one. Ultimate chaos, total destruction, and devastation. Actually, it's kind of a hilarious thing, but just imagine a scenario where, like, Mickey jumpstarts the apocalypse simply by throwing a boomerang. Just imagine that! Mickey jumpstarts a nuclear war, a nuclear holocaust, simply by throwing a boomerang. Imagine that. That would be hilarious. Okay, kind of bad, but also hilarious. But the boomerang begins its journey, begins to cause all kinds of chaos in its wake, along the beach and just in different places around Sydney, until finally managing to come back to Mickey, which has everything on it. Oh, come on. Oh, you know what? Okay, you know what? I gotta say, I love this episode. I do. I love this episode. But the writer missed one little opportunity. One opportunity. It would have been hilarious if Minnie had to sing this ring here, and in her Australian voice, told Mickey, "Yes, of course I'll marry you." That would have been great. A little gag reference there. But at the same time, that would have no. I'm also glad, even though that would have been a fun little reference, I'm honestly glad they didn't do it because Mickey already joked with Minnie about that once. I don't want to see him do it again because that kind of hurt. That honestly was a douche move on Mickey's part. I'm not going to deny. You don't make a girl that you've been dating. You don't pretend to ask her to marry you and not be serious about it. You don't do that. But Mickey flees from all these people, and this is a Mad Max reference. Like, this is solid. This has got to be like a Mad Max reference here. Or Mad Mick reference. Because, I mean, just look at the setup with all these vehicles. Battering rams, guys with brooms, and if this was a bit of an older cartoon, these guys would have shotguns and rifles on the roof of the vehicles, but they don't. But yeah, this truck here, yeah, this is like a Mad Max thing. I'm just calling it. It looks like it. And Mickey ends up deciding, I'm going to finish the journey with this boomerang. So he throws it, and actually he's able to rescue everybody with the boomerang. Takes everybody back to where they were. Then it's all well and good. It's all well and good. And like I said, even though they did not put like a gag with Minnie in here, that would have hurt Mickey the worst for that to have happened. But honestly, I'm glad that they left Minnie out of the chaos. I'm honestly glad for that because if like the boomerang had done something to Minnie, like if it had have hit her in the face, that would have hurt. Or like if it actually it kind of would have been a hilarious gag, they couldn't have done it. But like if the boomerang zipped by Minnie and it like completely like took her skirt with it, and so then Minnie looks down and realizes she's just in her underwear, and so then like she kind of screams as she like pulls her knees up to her chest. And then Mickey was like, when after Mickey threw the boomerang, or like Minnie tells Mickey, "Get my skirt back," and then the like here Minnie's skirt would have been the last thing, and like Minnie grabs it and quickly pulls it on. But again, I'm glad, honestly, that would have been comical. It wouldn't have worked, honestly, with this particular cartoon, or really any Mickey cartoon in general, because I think it would have been a bit too mature. But still, that's my imagination. But again, I'm glad, honestly, that they left Minnie out of the chaos and pandemonium that was going around, because I honestly think, while it would have been interesting to see what would have happened with her, I'm glad that she was left out of the chaos, because to me, it is more funny that Minnie was like completely oblivious to everything that was going on with her guy here. It was just hilarious that she was just completely had no idea what was going on. I think that is more funny. To me, it would have been funny if Minnie would have been involved in some way, like what I mentioned before, with like if it had taken her hat with it, or it would have taken her skirt, or even like taken her book or something. But again, it wouldn't really. Okay, the book wouldn't really probably matter too much to her, unless, of course, it was like a. Actually, correction, that would have been a comical gag too. Is if it had have taken Minnie's book and it turns out Minnie's book was actually a Mickey Mouse comic that Minnie was reading, that would have been cute. Or if it was a book about Mickey that she was reading, or like it was or it turns out it was a scrapbook. It was like a scrapbook that she had, that she, of course she's going to want that back. But again, Mickey manages to get everything back to normal. Poor guy at his expense, and he's just okay. And well, look, it looks like what right here, like we got like a little bitty, like a fluff bit, like a tuft of fluff on the back of Mickey's back, which I imagine the mice. I know some people imagine them to have fur. I myself imagine them to just have dark, just have onyx skin. To me, I don't imagine that they have fur. I imagine that they just have, like, I imagine myself that they have jet black skin, with like the peach or white faces. However, I can't easily imagine that they have like very short, very soft fur. But I always imagine that they just have skin. But going with the concept of a fur bit, I can kind of imagine like Minnie looking up, seeing Mickey distressed, and she like kind of crawls over and she sits down next to him and she like begins to rub her finger gently on that one little spot on Mickey's back with the fur, and like Mickey just kind of melts right there, and Minnie giggles. That also would have been cute, but again, that's my head. But I love this cartoon because again, the mice are in Australia, and I love that the mice have Australian accents in this. I love it. I was expecting them to just like be vacationing in Australia, which you could still look at it that way. The interesting thing about these Disney cartoons is that you can imagine that the mice live there or are vacationing there. The cartoons are done in a way that you can imagine either. There's not anything particularly like any complete continuity or anything that you could say is 100% canon. Um, the beauty of these cartoons is that they are done in a way that you can imagine them to be either way. And so for me, I choose to imagine that the mice are just vacationing in Australia, but they don't, they don't naturally speak Australian. But while they were in Australia, they kind of took on the Australian accent. And they were just kind of using it with each other, as like a fun little bit between them. And Mickey just kind of got used to it. But again, I love this cartoon. I love this cartoon. It's zany, it's fun, and it's very comical. And there is some really cute stuff in here. The cutest thing is Minnie calling Mickey Hun in Australia. That's so sweet. I love it. I love it. I love that the mice are together in this as well. And because, like, I have to say, that's one of the things that does irk me about the Mickey comics is that there are so many comics with Mickey going on adventures with Goofy, with Iga Beaver, with with Casey, with Chief O'Hara, and just by himself. Uh, there are so many comics of this. Minnie very seldom gets to have any adventures with Mickey in the Disney comics. And I'm so glad that in these cartoons, Mickey and Minnie are doing more things together. They're going more places together and having adventures together. I love that. Disney, please keep doing that, please. But yeah, I absolutely love this cartoon. This is a cute cartoon. It's fun. And again, Mickey, I love his Australian accent. And the concept of a boomerang and the destruction that it can bring. Again, just imagine that. That would be honestly a fun fanfic where Mickey brings about the apocalypse accidentally simply by throwing a boomerang. That would be funny. But again, I love this cartoon. I absolutely love this cartoon. I really love this cartoon. And this is definitely, I would have to say, this is probably one of my favorite of the Mickey shorts. But one thing that I have to say is interesting is there's some few different things to go over this cartoon is the opening signs. I would assume these are like warnings to be watchful of these creatures here in the Outback. I think it's comical that the final sign is Mickey himself. I love that. That's comical. And I love the music that plays during this scene too, as we get the introduction, as the camera swivels across the playground. I love the music that plays during this setup here. That is beautiful. And also some cute things here. A flying squirrel! Like, a flying squirrel! That's cute! I love her design. That's adorable. But this kangaroo, like, whoa. This is like Kangarock. This is like, instead of kangaroo, it's a Kangarock. It's like the rock. And that's what I said. Like, I can imagine Kanga, like, oh my freaking gosh. That's why I said, Roo, meet your father. And honestly, I love this scene here, where it begins to show the bonfire, the campfire at night in the Outback. That is beautiful. But this scene here, with it's like a time lapse where it shows, and I think if I'm not mistaken, this is like an actual cosmic thing that you can witness. I'm not sure if just in Australia, but I have seen pictures of something like this before, where you can see like the stars kind of having like a swirl around them. I love this. I love the artistic and realistic nature essence that these cartoons have to them, and the backdrops, the scenery, and the realistic atmospheric changes and such, and natural phenomena. I love that. It adds a lot of atmosphere and depth to these cartoons. I absolutely love them, and it's just gorgeous. This is one of my most favorite scenes here for the backgrounds, is the vehicles set in the cartoon. Now, I had to go over the vehicles because, as you know, I'm a gearhead, so I had to go over the vehicles. The first vehicle that we have is a 4-door, and this is an older model car. This looks like something from the 30s or 40s by the design, because it has the big fenders and those. So this looks like that. This is no doubt an Australian, like an antique Australian car. I can't tell much about it from here, so if anybody, if you live in Australia, if you know a car similar to this, please let me know. But we have a rake strapped to the front fender of this car, and there are other scenes that transition, which there are other vehicles as well. We have a wheelbarrow attached to the front of another car. I'm theorizing also an Australian make. And we have what looks like a large bus, like an older 40s or 50s bus. as well as a blue car. I can't tell about that one. And then we have this other vehicle. This is an El Camino. This is an El Camino here, which is really cool to see. We see another what looks like a pickup truck or like a Blazer or a Bronco right here in the back. Looks like a pickup truck with like the camper shell on the bed. But this front car, this is an El Camino. This is what looks like an 80s Chevy El Camino because of the body style. It looks like the 80s style Camino. That's what it looks like. And we also see another, what looks possibly like an Australian. This might be a Range Rover or a Land Rover SUV in the background. And we also see a little scooter chasing them as well. And now these stay stationary on the side throughout the next shot, so there's not anything to show with that. But we do see this roof-based view, which gives us a bit more. We see the blue car in the front again. It's a compact. Here it looks like a compact. The red car over here, I can't tell. The trunk is absent, so I can't tell much about it. But we see this other truck, this bus here again. It looks like a 30s or 40s model because of the larger because of the larger headlamp on the front and larger rounder fenders. But yeah, this looks like a Mad Max reference here, like Mad Mick, Fury, Road Rage, or Road Rage Road, or Road Fury Road, something like that. I absolutely love this cartoon. I really love this cartoon. One of the things I have to point out is I'm glad that whenever the vehicles, I was expecting a large explosion to happen at the end of it with all the cars, with all the vehicles. Honestly, I'm glad they didn't do that because it's kind of too cliche. Car gets hit, explodes upon impact. It's honestly more realistic that a vehicle would not completely explode from going over a cliff. Just smash completely. It's a common thing in movies and TV, so I'm glad they didn't go with the cliche of having the vehicles explode all together in one giant fireball at the end. I'm glad that they just plummeted and, smashed, crushed, that's it. But again, I absolutely love this cartoon. This is definitely a fun cartoon. My favorite bit is Minnie calling Mickey Hun in the Australian accent. That's so cute, so sweet. But again, I absolutely love this cartoon. And again, it is one of my favorites of the Mickey shorts. Not the most favorite. One of my most favorites is definitely Third Wheel. And the Hawaiian short. The mermaid one as well. Okay, there's a lot of those that are some of my most favorites. The one where the mice are in the cavern as well. There's a lot that are my most favorites. That are top ones. This one here is definitely one of my most favorites. But again, I love this cartoon. A lot of fun, a lot of crazy stuff. I absolutely love it. Again, everybody at Disney, the writers, everybody, background designers, artists. Thank you all so much. And to Rusi, to Chris, you guys rocked the Australian accent with the mice. You guys rocked it. That was great. And also to the writer for having Minnie call Mickey Hun in Australian, and for Rusi for delivering that line so well. Again, amazing job. Thank you all so much. That was just great. I love it. Thank you all so much. And thank you again to everybody joining me. Hope you guys enjoyed. Again, let me know your thoughts in the comments as well. But again, thank you guys again for joining me. Hopefully I'll see you guys in the next video that I do. Take care.